Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Sumukascha Yekadantascha Kapilo Gajakarnakaha. Lambodarascha Vikato Vignarajo Vinayakaha. Dhumaketurganadhyakshaha Palachandro Gajananaha. Vakratundaha Surpakarno Herambaha Skandapurvajaha. Shuklandaradharam Vishnum Sasivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopasantaye Yasyadjarada Vaktradhyaha Parishadhyaha Parasatham Vignam Nighanti Satatam Vishvaksenam Tamasraye Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheswaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Satchidananda Rupaya Krishnaya Aklishtakarine Namo Vedanta Vedhyaya Gurave Buddhisakshine Krishnadvaipayanam Vyasam Sarvabhutahite Ratam Vedatcha Bhaskaram Vande Samadhi Nilayam Munim Janmadhyasya Yataha Anvayat Yataratascha Artheshu Abhignaha Swarat Tene Brahma Hridayaha Adikavaye Mukhyanti Yat Surayah Tejovari Mrudam Yatha Vinimayo Yatra Trisargo Mrisha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi Dharmaha Prochidha Kaitavotra Paramo Nirmatsaranam Satam Vedyam Vastavam Atra Vastu Sivadam Tapatrayon Mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krute Kimva Paraihi Isvaraha Sadhyaha Rudi Avarudhyatehe Atra Krutivihi Susrushubihi Takshanat Nigama Kalpataror Galitam Phalam Sukamukat Amrita Drava Samyutam Pipata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Muvaraho Rasikaha Bhuvi Bhavukaha Yam Prabhajantam Anupetam Apeta Krutyam Dvaipayano Viraha Katara Ajuhava Putreti Tanmayataya Taravaha Abhineduhu Tam Sarvabhuta Hridayam Muni Manatosmi Yaha Swanubhavam Akila Sutisaram Ekam Adhyatma Deepam Apitatirshatam Tamom Dhamam Samsarinam Karunayaha Purana Gukhyam Tam Vyasasunu Mupayami Gurum Muninam Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devi Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Now with Bhagavan's grace, let us continue partaking a brief summary, a glimpse really into Skandam 3. We completed Skandams 1 and 2, and now in Skandam 3 we have taken up, we have covered a few sections in Skandam 3. We have come to the point where after giving birth to the 9 daughters and marrying them off, and after Kardava Prajapati leaves for sannyasam to do tapas, and Devahuti now prays to her son Kapila, whom she knows is the avataram of Bhagavan, and she asks him questions. And what Bhagavan Kapila Muni teaches her is known as Sankhya Yogam and also as Bhakti Yogam. Both he teaches. We should not forget that. He starts with Sankhya Yogam. Sankhya, as we saw earlier, in one of our earlier sessions, refers to numbers. Through numbers, he takes us to Bhagavan, because the mind, the intelligence aspect in us wants to know. But then through numbers, it takes to a certain stage, a 26th number as we covered, that is beyond all numbers. That is the indweller, that's the Paramatma. How to know him is done through Bhakti Yogam. That also he is going to teach. Okay? Now, so some of the things that we are going to cover now, I know we spent 2 or 3 sessions with the emphasis on Sankhya Yogam, and with Bhagavan's grace, I've also shared some material with you in our WhatsApp group. to help us understand what the Sankhya Yoga is, at least from an intellectual, limited understanding point of view. And then now we're going to cover the Bhagavata Slokanga that talks about basically the same point, so it will become clearer to you. It will be like a revision of a revision of a revision. So once this is properly understood and it is established very stiram, firmly in your mind with clarity, that clarity is very important, that there is no question of doubts or anything like that, a clear understanding, that will help the next step of practicing it. Okay? That's one. So, before I take up the slokam, we can start from 25.9 actually. So, Skandam 3, 25.9, Devahuti begins to talk to Kapila Bhagavan. But before that, I want to summarize again to the Sankhya Yoga, the aspect of it, the 24 element, the 25th, the 26th, and how the creation comes about. Now, one way to look at it, probably a very important way, the way that Bhagavan teaches me, the way I understand his teachings, is I am creating everything around me, including my life. I've created myself also. So if I'm going to start with this I, then how am I creating things in my life? Through 24 aspects. So all the 24 aspects we saw earlier, every one of them is present within me. Using those 24 aspects, I create everything in my life. Everything. Whether it's dreams, experiences, anubhavangal, aspirations, imaginations, likes, dislikes, everything comes from that. Everything. So then also there is a 25th element, which is that I know I am not this body, I am not this mind. There is something within me, which our elders call as Purusha, the indweller in the Puru. Puru means embodiment. And that is internally, I know it is there. Externally, we call it as Kalam, as time. Both are exactly the same. Then the 25th then points me to 26th, which is beyond all understanding, beyond all experiences. It's only Anandam, Anandam, Anandam. That's all it is. No word to describe it. How can sweetness be described? It has to be experienced, isn't it? And does sweetness know its own sweetness? Think for a second. If I take a dessert, I find it is tasty and I enjoy it, and the sweetness in it, or even a glass of water for that example, it is so sweet, especially when I'm thirsty, isn't it? So, does that sweetness does not only mean sugar, please don't get it wrong, understand it that way, Anything that gives me happiness and bliss. And does that sense of that essence, does it know itself? Does sugar know that the sweetness in sugar know that it is sweet? How does it? That is why you created sugar as well as an ant. Both an ant and sugar are created by the sweetness, so that it can taste itself. That's how I'm creating different things within me, so that I can experience love, prema, the sweetness of prema. Having said this, so how do I create this 24 and what are these 24 things in me? Right, we are going to cover that again very briefly. And again, there is no such thing called time, but our mind refuses to accept it because we say yesterday, today, tomorrow. I'm creating all this. Even Kalam is created by me. Okay, the Parama Purushan, the Paratattvam, the one beyond words and experiences, the essence of everything that is sweet, selfless love, okay, in the beginning wanted to taste itself, give love and receive love. For that I separated myself from myself. So in that process, Mahatsattvam, Kalam, and Prakriti happened. Mahatattvam, the operating principle of giving love and receiving love. That's present in everything. Everything does parasparam only in our life. 8.4 million beings, minus one, which is human being. Everything else follows the dharma of giving love, receiving love. Parasparam, helping each other. Okay, man, we are the problem area. Okay, because we have vivekam and we make a wrong choice. So that these three in my life, I'm talking about my life now. You can apply it to whatever I'm saying. You can apply it to yourself in your life. Forget everything else. It will apply to you. Okay, as true as it applies to me. So what did I do? I wanted to experience my own love. That's what I really am. I wanted to experience it. The sweetness and sugar. So I created sugar and the ant. Both are required. So what did I do? How did I do that? In my life, I created so many things, so many objects. Mahatattvam. The basic desire is Mahatattvam, to give love and receive love. But there's nobody else. So I created column. I appeared as column. Mahatattvam also is Bhagavan Swarupam only. Everything is Bhagavan Swarupam only. But it appears different. Please remember that. And Prakriti, which is the three gunas in absolute equilibrium. Then, disturbed by time, and why is the disturbance take place, that will come to a little bit later, very important, it takes actually to understand. Then different things got created. Panchabhudangal or Panchapranangal, whatever you want to call it. Panchabhudangal, Tanmatras, the element in each of the Panchabhudangal, whether it is taste, smell, sound, etc. Then Antakaranangal, 4 of them saw earlier, and Indriyangal, the tools with which we relate to all this, right? So total of 24 if you add it up. This is Sankhya Yoga. It is called as Brahma Sannivasam. Now, we said Purusha is internal, Kala is external, both is the same. Time disturbs Prakriti, the gunas, Sathya Gunam, Rajasa Gunam, and Tamasic Gunam. That disturbance comes Ahamkaram. The feeling of separation has to happen. Ahamkaram. Now, the three gunangal, the natural tendencies in Prakriti, Bhagavan appears as all the three gunangal. The Sattva Gunam gives only Santi, peace. Rajasic Gunam gives Asanti, aggressiveness. I have to do this work. Oh my God, I'm running late. So many things. Asanti, lack of peace. Santam is Sattvic Gunam. And Asanti is Rajasic Gunam. And Ajnanam, ignorance, is Tamasic Gunam. So when all the three are in equilibrium, there is no such thing called for lack of peace to appear, Asanti to appear, Shanti must be present. So it is like the place where there is no fear, how can there be a lack of fear, right? So it is that stage is where it is, Prakriti. Once its disturbance takes place, equilibrium, then all these three comes in. Peace, lack of peace, as well as ignorance steps in. The Ahamkaram itself, the Gunangal disturbed, has got three types. The Vaikarika Ahamkaram is from the Satvika Ahamkaram. The Satvik Gunam appears as Vaikarikam. And that manifests as mind, manas. Now I have my mind, right? This is my Satvika Gunam manifesting itself. The Satvika Gunam, Satvika Ahamkaram manifesting itself. This is called the Vaikarika Ahamkaram. Manas, we saw, is nothing but bundle of desires. Kamam, desire, is what it is. There are two types of kamangal. Sankalpam, Vikalpam. Sankalpam is associated with the own body. Vikalpam or desires associated with enjoyment, acquiring objects for the enjoyment of my body. These are the two types of desires. Okay? So this is how Prakriti disturbed by time, kalam, because everything changes with time. Please remember that. The first thing is ahamkara manifested. The vaikarika ahamkara, which is sattvic gunam, gives rise to mind, manas, which is nothing but bundle of desires. Now, rajasika ahamkaram is called taijasa aspect. In Sanskrit words, please note it down, because I encourage every one of you to turn your mind to understand the Sanskrit padangal and repeat them. Okay? Don't have to understand it in English. Please go to Sanskrit. It is a most natural language of a human being, regardless of the country you are from. So, Taijasa ahamkaram is Rajasa gunam, Rajasa ahamkaram. That results in buddhi. Now, what does buddhi do? It gives you doubt. It gives you mistaken understanding. It gives you correct understanding. It gives you memory, and also in deep sleep, it is inactive. All these five I have. So now I know my buddhi I've created. This is how my buddhi is functioning within me from Rajasika Ahamkaram. My own Ahamkaram, which tells me I am different from God. I'm different from myself. So I am God, I am not different from God. But it is very difficult for us even to think I am God, Aham Brahmasmi, right? That feeling of separation we have is Ahamkaram. Rajasika aspect of that results in buddhi, which gives me the faculty of understanding correctly or incorrectly, the faculty to remember, memory, the faculty that also doubts things, and it's absolutely inactive when I'm in deep sleep. Now, tamasika aspect of the ahamkaram, when Prakriti is disturbed by time, is tamasa ahamkaram, is called tamasa ahamkaram, and that manifests as sabdam. Sabdam. The sabda tanmatrai results in akasam. Akasam is, we call it space, ether, whatever it is. We know what akasam is. People like you and me know what akasam is. So we don't have to use English words. So that akasam, the quality of akasam is sabdam. That sabda tanmatrai manifests itself as akasam. Then there is something to be able to receive it, isn't it? To understand the sabdam, to cognize it. So sabda indriyam also is born. The sabda indriyam, or the srotra indriyam, the srotra, the ears we call it, okay? Ear is a tool. Ear is only a tool. Please remember that. But the power behind the ear is srotra indriyam, okay? And the srotra indriyam cognizes the sabdam in the akasam. Number one. Now, quickly going through, okay, you already know this, so I won't spend much time on this, is sabdam, akasam, srotrindriyam. From akasam, in the passage of time, came the essence of touch, sparsham, and that with time became vayu, one of the Panchapudanga, and for vayu become skin, tvak. From vayu, in the passage of time, came the essence of form. The whole world, in my world, I got only 5 ways I cognize it. Through sound, through touch, through form, through taste, and through smell. These are the 5. There's nothing beyond it. That's the way I relate to my life, right? And that's the way you relate to your life. So these 5 within me, the sparsam became vayu. From vayu came rupam, the essence of form, which they transformed into agni, and agni gave me the netra, the eyes, to be able to, the eyes as a tool. But behind my eyes, the power to perceive form That is the Netrendriyam. Okay. Then from Agni came Rasam. Rasam is taste. That Arat came Amba, the water from Rasam. And then Jihva, which is my tongue. And then from water, from Amba, Jalam, came Gandham. Gandham is smell that gave to Prithvi, the earth. Interestingly, every subsequent transformation retained the previous Tanmatra also. For example, Sabdam with time became Akasam. Akasam with time also generated the Tanmatra, the essence of Sparsam, which is touch, which then with time became Vayu. Now Vayu has both qualities, both Sabdam as well as touch, Sparsam. When Vayu became generated to Agni or Rupam, Agni has all the three. It has got Sabdam, it has got Sparsam, touch, you can touch it, you can hear it, and you can also Rupam, form. And from Agni came Rasam, which is what, and then Amba, water. Water has got all the four qualities. It has got the quality of sound, quality of touch, quality of form, and quality of taste. Then finally, from Amba came the Prithvi, the earth, which is Gandham, which is smell, and that has got all the 5 Tanmatrahal in it. It has got sound, it has got touch, smell, form, and as well as taste. So this is briefly how my life is, how I have created using these 24 elements. Now, Panchabhutangal are formed with all these 5 elements. Tanmatras we spoke about. And the Antakaranangal, there are 4 of them, which are basically Manas, Buddhi, Chittam, and the 4th one is the ego, as we call it. Interestingly, I have all the 4. Manas, bunch of desires. Buddhi, we just saw that, right? And then the Chittam is nothing but the thinking process. Okay, when I cognize something, that mind desires it, and then the thought comes. The thinking behind that process, Antakaranam, the internal impulse organ, internal workings within me, that is Chittam. And the ego is, of course, the feeling of separation, the ahamkaram associated with that. So all the 4 are there, and then the 10. Once I cognize with the Tanmatrahal, the 5 Jnanendriyangal, I also act. Those 5 action, the organs of action are called Karma Indriyangal. So if you add them up, you're 24. Then the question comes, why am I creating all this? What is the purpose? I get attracted to all the created things that I myself create. I myself create everything, and I go after them after creating it, seeking happiness. But I forget to give love. Therefore, I don't get love back, I get misery. But whatever I create is false. Therefore, even if I get a happiness from something, that is only temporary, not permanent. So once I go through this game for a while, I don't know how many births, then I begin to wonder, why all this? Now I understand the 24, but what is the purpose behind this? Then I begin to get a feeling for what column is, what time is, really begin to appreciate it and go away from thinking time management and all this nonsense. There's no way I can manage time. Time manages me. I realize that. Then I say, oh, there is something within me, the Purusha, right? When I see something, who's actually looking at it? When I hear something, who's actually hearing it, right? Slowly like that, I look to 25th element, to the Sankhya Yogam. That leads me to 26th, which is beyond the creator as well as the created. That is the Paratattva. That is 26. This briefly is, again, a summary of Sankhya Yogam. Then this is the question they will be asked. So we'll do 3 slokam 25, 9, 10 and 11 today. And then he says, Swami, you are the Adi Purusha, the Moolam. Okay, without any beginning or end, everything has come from you. You are the Ishvara and the master and the protector for all the things, all the jiva, all the created beings. And you are the only one who can remove the Ajnanam. Ajnanam is Tamasika Ahankara, remember that. And by just with your effulgence of prema, effulgence does not mean the light of the sun. Effulgence means the thing that gives effulgence to the sun. It is prema. It is formless. It is absolutely formless. That's why we get Surya Koti Samaprabha and all that. Its effulgence is beyond description. That is prema. Then the reason we use the word effulgence of light and all this in English and the jyoti in Sanskritam, because that removes all darkness of knowledge, removes all ajnanangal. Then everything appears the way they truly are. That Swami, only you can give that vision. Okay, please. You are the one who is most qualified to remove my ignorance and my illusion. And even the fact I'm living in this body with a wrong attachment, with the wrong feeling, with the feeling of separation in my ajnanam, that also is your anugraham only. Now, I pray to you, I want to understand about this Prakriti and Purusha. What is the difference? I mean, what is the relationship between the two? Okay, in spite of all that I hear, Prakriti will appear different. What is it? What is happening here? Swami, please tell me. And then Bhagavan describes the Vivekam, the differentiation, the relationship between. See, the difference is nothing but I stand in front of a mirror, as Swami explained beautifully in one discourse, and then I look at my own reflection in the mirror. Right? I know my buddhi tells me what I'm looking at the mirror is actually not true. It's only my image. It's a reflection, and that is really not true. And that is there because of the mirror. If the mirror is not there, I cannot see my image also, my reflection also. So the whole creation is nothing but that. The mirror is my mind. Mirror is my mind. And what is appearing in the created world is my own reflection on the mirror of my mind. If my mind is pure, with no desires, then the Atma Jyoti is reflected. Understand? But my mind is not pure. It has got so many desires, and there are three problems with the mind. I'll just briefly mention this, and then we'll close for today. The mirror, I've got mirror of my mind, is not like the mirror in my bathroom. Okay? But it reflects. It is very dark. It is completely enclosed with what is known as ajnanam, ignorance. That is number one. And number two, it is always shaking. It is not steady. Right? And number three, it is going from place to place. It is not only unsteady, it is not in one given place at any time. It keeps moving. Shaking, moving all the time, and completely enveloped in, so to speak, a black cloth. If that is the case, then my Atma Jyoti, I'm looking at it, I'm looking at my reflection, which is nothing but Prakriti, the created world, which is my own reflection actually. The Param Jyoti, the Atma Jyoti within me, how will it reflect? How can it show as the reflected Jyoti? Right? This is the problem. So to put it in a very simple way, and then we're going to talk more about this as we go through. I'll cover again these few slokams from Bhagavatam, again reviewing this subject with open prayer that all of us not only you, but also me, and becomes very clear to us as we take the next step onwards. With that, today we will close, and tomorrow, with Bhagavan's grace, we will take up Slokam 26.1, and we'll begin there and continue our brief summary, 3.26.1, which is Bhagavan Kapila Bhagavan's reply to Devahuti's prayer to explain the difference and the relationship between Prakriti and Purusha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om.